guys, welcome back to my channel, Corduroy ASMR. I look like a hot mess. It's hot. My hair is crazy. Yeah. My chair is creaking. There's a lot going on, but I just rambled for like 30 minutes about it on my Patreon, so I'm not gonna get into it right now. But anyways, today's video is gonna be 10 fun facts about Star Wars. As some of you may know, if you watch my videos, I just watched Star Wars like a month or two ago. So, yeah. Let's go. Oh my god, it's so hot. First fact. Yoda was almost played by a monkey before settling on a puppet voiced and operated by Frank Oz. The original plan was to use a trained monkey wearing a mask to portray Yoda. That would be crazy. First of all, I feel like that'd be so hard to do anyways. Like, even though it's a trained monkey, I don't know about that. That sounds like such a hassle. But also, like, Yoda in the in the original trilogy is so like that makes sense almost when you think about his character in that. I feel like everyone knows this one now. Luke, I am your father isn't the actual line. I feel like my throat's gonna burp. The famous Darth Vader quote is often misremembered as Luke, I am your father. The real line is, no, I am your father. That was like one of the biggest Mandela effects ever that has been talked about. And I'm pretty sure like someone got to the bottom of it, and it was because like in a certain release of it or something, it was Luke, I am your father, or like some of the toys had that line like programmed into it or something like that. Like it came from somewhere. People didn't just like make it up, and it like first got connected to being from the original movie, but it wasn't. Number 3, the Ewok language is based on Tibetan and Nepali. The chirpy language of the Ewoks was created by sound designer Ben Burt using a mix of real-world languages. A lot of people be hating on my Ewoks over here. Why? I love my Ewoks. I love an Ewok. Chewbacca's voice is a mix of animals. His iconic growl was crafted from sounds made by bears, walruses, lions, and badgers. That's so interesting because, like, people can make that with their voice. Like, I've heard people do impressions of Chewbacca and it sounds spot on, so it's so weird that it's, like, actual animals when, like, somebody could just do it with their throat. Okay. The original R2-D2 could curse. Kenny Baker, who was inside the original R2-D2 suit, often swore when things went wrong on set, leading to plenty of outtakes. The lightsaber sound is a combination of 2 real-world noises. It's made from the hum of an old projector and the buzz of a TV set's interference. That's really interesting, actually. I never thought about like where that noise came from. That does make me think of that, it makes me think of that Graham Norton interview with, Ewan McGregor and this British comedian that I can't remember the name of, and they, like, brought out lightsabers, and they were talking about how, like, on set, they would, like, it was really hard for them to not make the shoo, 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 like the sound that lightsabers make when, like, swinging them around. Which, like, I feel like that would be me. Like, all of those movies, like, all of those kinds of scenes, like, even like with like Spider-Man, for example, like he had trouble not doing that, like the little noise that it makes. Like he had to like make himself not do the noise with his mouth because it was so natural, because like that's how you play at home, like is making the little noises. The Millennium Falcon was inspired by a hamburger. George Lucas described the ship as looking like a flying hamburger with an olive on the side, aka the cockpit. Star Wars was almost called Adventures of the Star Killer. One early draft of the script had Luke's name as Luke Starkiller, and the saga had a very different tone. Interesting. I feel like that's... I don't know, I feel like Skywalker is so much cooler than Starkiller. E.T. exists in the Star Wars universe. Members of E.T.'s species appear briefly in the Phantom Menace Senate scene tying the universes together. What? I'm gonna have to look that up afterwards. I don't know about that one. Darth Maul had dialogue cut from the final film. Although he only speaks a few words in the Phantom Menace, he originally had more lines, most of which were cut to make him more mysterious. Honestly, I feel like that was the move. He seems so like scary and, well, mysterious, but just like, I don't know, it makes him scarier to not have him talk as much, you know what I mean? But I said this before in a different video, but I wish that we got more of him in the films because he's so cool, and I loved having him. I feel like a lot of people know this one as well. Samuel L. Jackson's lightsaber is purple because he asked for it. He wanted to stand out in the battle scenes of Attack of the Clones, so Lucas let him have a unique purple blade, which is so iconic. Like, if I ever get a lightsaber, like at Disneyland or something, which those are kind of shitty, but the good ones are way too fucking expensive. My boyfriend has one that's literally like was $400 or something crazy. Like, girl, buy. But if I were to get one at like Disneyland, I would. You have that experience where you make your own lightsaber. I would get a purple one. Period. Darth Vader never says, "May the Force be with you." Despite being one of the saga's most iconic lines, Darth Vader himself never says it in any of the films. Yeah. I wonder if Anakin has said it before he turned dark. I think he has, right? I feel like I'm remembering a scene where he says it, but I guess that's technically before he is Darth Vader, so that makes sense. The word Ewok is never spoken in Return of the Jedi. Even though the characters are central to the story, no one actually says the word Ewok in the movie. I guess that makes sense because they don't actually know what the species is in the movie. Wookiees were originally going to be in Return of the Jedi. Instead of Ewoks, the original script featured Wookiees helping the rebels. Budget constraints led to the creation of the smaller Ewoks. It would have been really cool to see more Wookiees, I think. But it makes Chewbacca more unique to have it only be him that we see. R2-D2 once spoke English in early drafts. In George Lucas's original screenplay, R2-D2 had full dialogue, often sarcastic and rude, which was later replaced with beeps and whistles. So basically he had kind of C-3PO's dialogue. C-3PO is a little more classy with it though, although he is rude. Qui-Gon Jinn's communicator was a lady's razor. The Jedi communicator used by Liam Neeson in The Phantom Menace is actually a dressed-up Gillette Ladies Sensor XL razor. That's interesting. Yoda has no known species more of his species, though, I guess, in Mandalorian. I don't know if it's actually explained, though, because I haven't watched The Mandalorian, so I don't know. The sound of blaster fire comes from hitting a guy wire. Ben Burtt created the blaster sound by striking a taut metal cable like those used on radio towers with a hammer. Interesting. Boba Fett debuted in a cartoon. He first appeared in the animated segment of the Star Wars Holiday Special in 1978, before The Empire Strikes Back. Carrie Fisher's costume was glued on. In A New Hope, Fisher's iconic white dress didn't allow for undergarments due to the lighting, so tape and glue were used to avoid wardrobe malfunctions. Honestly, that's not the one that I thought they were going to say was glued on. Interesting. I mean, how can you really have a wardrobe malfunction in that? I guess maybe they're talking about, like, covering certain things instead of taping it down. Well, glue, though. I feel like it's a very modest dress, so I don't really know. That's interesting. I thought they were going to talk about how, like, her iconic slave outfit had to be, like, the skirt had to be glued or something because it's so open on the sides. And it's clear she's not wearing anything under there, so. The original Emperor was played by a woman and a monkey. In The Empire Strikes Back, the Emperor's hologram was a composite, a woman's face superimposed, chimpanzee eyes, and voiced by Clive Revill. Jabba the Hutt was originally a human. In a deleted scene from A New Hope, Jabba was portrayed by a burly man in furs. This scene was later restored with CGI Jabba in the special edition. Wait, I need to see that. I did not know that. I need to see it. Porgs exist because of puffins. The island where The Last Jedi was filmed, Skellig Michael, was full of puffins. Rather than digitally erase them, the filmmakers turned them into porgs. So cute. Rey's desert portions in The Force Awakens were shot in Abu Dhabi. Jakku may look alien, but it was filmed in the real-world desert of the UAE, not Tunisia, like Tatooine. General Grievous's cough was inspired by George Lucas himself. Lucas had bronchitis during production, and sound designer Matthew Wood recorded it for Grievous's wheeze. The Wilhelm scream is in nearly every Star Wars film. The iconic stock scream has become an inside joke among sound editors and was used from A New Hope through The Last Jedi. I did notice that a lot while watching those movies. Every time it happened, I was like, oh, there it is. There's that scream. It's such a noticeable scream. Mark Hamill held his breath for over a minute for The Last Jedi. In an underwater force vision scene, Hamill, trained with divers, to hold his breath in the underwater chute. Ewan McGregor made lightsaber noises on set. There it is. I was just talking about that. He couldn't resist mimicking the vroom sound while filming. Some had to be edited out in post. Stormtroopers constantly hit their heads. The infamous scene in A New Hope where a stormtrooper bangs his head on a doorway was kept in and later referenced with similar gags in other media. I love that scene. It sounds so hollow when he hits his head too. There is a Starbucks cup in The Mandalorian, almost following the infamous coffee cup in Game of Thrones. Fans caught glimpses of crew gear left on screen during the Mandalorian episodes, though Disney was quick to edit them out later. That's so interesting. I always wondered, like, how that happens. Like, how does no one notice a Starbucks cup? It's so out of place. Like, I don't understand how no one notices it in the moment. Like, nobody? You're telling me that that room is full of people and no one noticed that Starbucks cup? Like, what? I don't understand how that's possible. Liam Neeson was too the sets. At 6'4", Neeson's height got unplanned costs during The Phantom Menace because they had to rebuild door frames on set to accommodate him. Han Solo's "I know" line was improvised. In The Empire Strikes Back, when Leia says "I love you," the script called for Han Solo to respond "I love you too," but Harrison Ford ad-libbed the now iconic "I know." I know that that's iconic, but I kind of hate it. Like, I only hate it because of the kind of character that he is. Like, he's so cocky and stuff that him saying "I know" was like, ew, to me, instead of romantic. Like, if he was a different type of character that was like, "I know that you love me and you know that I love you," like, "I know," in a different way, like, I feel like that would have been cute. But because Han Solo is such a cocky asshole to me, like, I was just like, okay. Like, I didn't like it. George Lucas funded The Empire Strikes Back himself. He took a big risk by self-financing the sequel using profits from A New Hope, which paid off enormously in the long run. The Jedi Temple was built over a Sith shrine. In canon lore, the Jedi Temple on Coruscant was constructed atop an ancient Sith site, which may have weakened the Jedi over time. Now, why would you do that? Like, why would you do that? I don't. Okay. James Earl Jones wasn't credited originally. Despite voicing Darth Vader, Jones requested not to be credited in A New Hope because he thought that his role was too minor. That's strange. I would have been like, yeah, credit me, bitch. I did the work. John Williams composed the Star Wars score in under 6 weeks. The iconic soundtrack was written and recorded in just over a month and changed film music forever. The sound of Vader's breathing was recorded with a scuba regulator. Sound designer Ben Burr used a breathing apparatus from a scuba tank to create the eerie mechanical breathing. Interesting. That makes sense, though. BB-8 was a real practical effect. While some shots used CGI, many BB-8 scenes used a fully functional remote-controlled droid built for the production. That's cool. Carrie Fisher slapped Oscar Isaac over 40 times. During takes of a scene in The Last Jedi, Fisher General Leia slaps Poe, aka Oscar Isaac, and according to Isaac, it took over 40 takes to get it right. Alright, that's the last fact that I'm gonna give y'all for today. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll probably make, this coming week, I'll make a films I watched in April video, for you guys. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in